Shane. Stall for 1 second. All right, call the meeting to order. 6:01, take roll. Are you a note taker today?
I am, I'm bear with me.
Yep, you're fine.
Okay.
So just,
Do I need to do anything?
yeah, you just,
Or use
yeah, just,
that? Okay, so Littlefield,
yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson, Collins.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I know, I was like, I don't think I had to do some part of it.
I'm tired.
I'm frozen. Really?
We all know we're all here. It's good
Yeah.
practice for you.
It's good practice, good practice,
Keep
Brent.
saying story.
I'm sorry.
Blame it on you.
Okay, I am, I
Just
said
kick this
absolutely
off.
in advance.
Now, we got all the yeses out of the way.
Yep.
I'm sorry. All right, number 2, the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of routine nature normally approved at board meetings will be approved by one vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on or any of these items. The consent agenda consists of a discussion, consideration, and approval of the following A through F, and take it away, Bryce.
Okay, I'll go down to B on the general fund, encumbrances and warrants. There are a couple different pages here, and that's really just because end of the year, end of the fiscal year, Judy trying to close out all the different accounts and make the payments. It's kind of a whirlwind these last couple of weeks, and then of course she's gone tonight. So as these encumbrances and warrants were paid out, she was printing these so that we didn't get behind. So there are a couple different pages here. The biggest one, the longest one is this one. That looks like the ones we get most months from her. Over there on the left, the numbers for the federal programs that utilize those funds. Big expense was Thompson School Book Depository, those are for textbooks. That bill came to us very late, so we knew we had that expense at the beginning of the year. It just took this long for them to finally
What books are those?
get the invoice to us. Those are for science textbooks. And like I said, we ordered those, purchased those, had those all year. They were just really late getting us the invoice. And we get that money from the state every year to cover that. So that $37,733, that's what that is for textbooks. Alpha Plus down there at the bottom, that's another program that we've used over the past few years. We've kind of slowly started to scale back, and so next year our 5th grade will still utilize that program, and so that cost will be about the same, but so we kind of scaled back on that. That used to be a pretty large program that we were paying for. Teachers have just kind of got good with it and kind of feel like it's time to move on. There's really not a lot of other expenses on that page. Commercial co-op bills, and that's fuel. We knew that was going to go up as those prices went up. And we're not seeing any relief in that regard, so I've kind of already been making some adjustments for next year, planning ahead for that to be an increased cost for us. Like I said, it's kind of sporadic here. Most of the other things on these other pages are smaller monthly payments. Some are just the things to close out the year. Just making sure that we get all different accounts here and there paid for to close out the fiscal year. Same thing on the building fund. Most of those expenses, that's on the about the 3rd page. that first one that I showed you. Sports Surface Management LLC, we had a company come in. This is the first time that we've done this on our turf, that they come in and they have a machine that will go through and clean that. Kind of like we spend money on our gym floor to have that refinished every year. We had them come in, picks up all the just little things. You'd be surprised how many little helmet snaps and buckles and stuff that just get out there. Track spikes, they have a magnet that goes through, it picks up all those things, and just really does a good job just kind of cleaning it and keep it in good shape for us. So we did that this year. And then Sherwin-Williams, that was paint for various painting projects that we did this summer. And then the lunch fund, just our Keystone expenses. Any questions about any of those? Kendra, is there anything on the activity fund report that we need to go over? Treasurer's report. There were a few things. Samantha's also gone to training. So there are a few things. We had a few additional expenses that would come in that were checks issued, at the very last couple days before June 30th that I do not believe are on here. So that general fund balance, and I'll talk just a little bit more about that on carryover, but the ending monthly balance there in the general fund really is about $768,000 rather than $828. I just want to make note that that's a little bit less than that, and I'll speak to that a little bit later.
I'm sorry, did you say checks issued? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
761?
yeah, we had because of our summer school program.
Mm-hmm.
There was, and then we had a few other utility bills, and I think that the textbooks.
That's what the miscellaneous is?
I may not be looking on the same page you were.
On the treasurer's report?
I'm looking on this.
Oh, okay, I was looking at the treasurer's report. I think I'm looking at the little cheat sheet here.
Oh, yeah, that's.
I'm not looking at the breakdown.
Sorry.
Okay, no, you're
I'm
good.
on the front page.
Yep. Continue, sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make a point about that. Like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about our fund balances in my report.
That it?
Unless there's any other questions.
Any questions on the consent agenda A through F? Need time to review the board meeting and any of that? If not, Desiree has made a motion to approve A through F. Do I have a second? I'll second. Curtis, second? Kendra?
Littlefield,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson, yes, Cullen.
It's all coming back to me now. Number 3, no principal reports. Or are you doing them, Bryce?
No, we will, we'll have full summer reviews and back to school reports for everybody in August.
Number 4, discussion and vote to approve a contract with Janet Hickman for the OT services for the 22-23 school year.
This is just our agreement and contract with her for the next school year. It's the same as we had, and previous for our occupational therapy services. And I would recommend that we renew and approve the contract with Jen. She does a great job.
Any questions, concerns with that? If not, I'll make a motion to approve Jana Hickman for OT services for the 22-23. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Desiree, second. Kendra?
Littlefield,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Number 5, discussion and vote to approve the district transfer capacity numbers.
These haven't changed since the last time that we voted on these. It's just that time again. We have to periodically approve those. And so, like I said, those numbers reflect what we have the ability to handle right now. There's only a few grade levels that have lower capacity numbers, and that's just, that's due to teacher availability, classroom space, and things like that.
Questions, discussion?
Motion to approve.
Desiree's made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Shane, second. Kendra?
Littlefield,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Collins. Yes.
Number 6, discussion and vote to approve an interlocal agreement with the city of Cherokee and Alfalfa County.
Again, this is just another yearly thing. This agreement, when we enter into that, that allows city employees, county employees, just to do some in-kind services and allows for those insurances to cover those employees if we need help. And we've done that several times with city employees. There's been times that our maintenance guys have done help them out. They've helped us out. We've helped them out with a few things in the past, so this just allows us to be able to legally do all that.
Any questions? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Curtis, second. Kendra?
Littlefield,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Collins. Yes.
Number 7, superintendent's report.
There's no principals reports, so mine's going to be a little bit longer. First thing, I just kind of want to bring up and let everybody know where we're at. There's some questions over the summer, surrounding school security, not necessarily our district in particular, but just overall. The governor did sign an executive order that made it where all public schools have to use what's called the RAVE app, and that's a free application. It's an app put on our phones, and it's free through the State Department. Basically, what it is it gives any staff member inside the school direct access to 911 services in the event of emergency. We can coordinate all of our fire drills, all of our intruder drills. All of those things can be done through that app. It's just another kind of an added measure. We go in and we set up different areas, identify buildings. So if a call comes out from that building, it goes through the 911 center and immediately gives them that address and information to that building. So kind of speeds that up. So I've already met through a Zoom meeting with them on that and kind of gotten a rundown there. The next step is to go in, identify our different buildings, and then enter our staff information when we come back for in-service in August. Then everybody will get a little bit of a lesson on how to use that, how to download that app, put it on their phones. That would be for all of our teachers, substitutes. The nice thing about it is that once you leave the building, the app doesn't recognize that you're in the building, so there's no chance of somebody taking their phone home and their kid gets a hold of their phone and activates a fire alarm or anything like that. But Still got a little bit to learn about that, but that's something that we will be implementing and using. Another thing, and it should start on Monday, is we will be updating the security cameras inside this building. There's several blind spots in some areas that have been able to be picked up inside and out. So Canoka will be coming out and updating that system. My office here used to be the only station that you could go and look at cameras for this building. They were old. They didn't provide much clarity on some things. The elementary already has a very good security camera system in place, and so this will be the same one. So all of us administrators can access those cameras remotely. We can check those from our phones if we need to. We're looking into some other things over at the elementary on how we can position some cameras just on the main entries so that we have better visual sight during the day in different areas, and so that we can keep an eye on the front of the building a little bit better over there. You know, we already have the kiosk stations at the main entrances, and I know sometimes those are inconvenient for people, but I really do think that that's something that we do have that's pretty valuable. I think it gives us a good stopping point for visitors. We can check on that a little bit more. Like I said, I know that there's times that you know, it's inconvenient because somebody needs their driver's license and they've got to walk back out in front. But if it's an added security measure and it's helping us keep you know, individuals out that we don't want in, and you know, we've had that. Nothing serious, but we have people in the front offices at both buildings that are pretty aware, and they don't have to unlock that door. And we've turned people away, and it's been good. So, you know, we have that already in place. Of course, we review our emergency procedure guide every year, and when our principals get back next week, we will be sitting down and we will go through that again. We will come up with our committee as we start the year, and we will do a review at the beginning to make sure that we go over all those policies and procedures. One thing that I'm looking into, other schools have done this, they call it Adopt a Door program. People can donate, and it's basically a fundraiser to go towards looking at interior doors, whether that be if they need locks replaced, you know, anything that could barricade them or hold them closed in case of an emergency. And there's several schools that have been doing that, kind of starting those initiatives. So looking into doing something like that possibly in the future. I know it would be nice on this north end. A lot of these doors are pretty old, and just, you know, the locks and whether you can lock it from the inside or the outside, there's just a lot of those types of things that need to be looked at again, and that can add up pretty quick. So that's one thing that, like I said, we're looking into, and then hopefully as we get back in August and September, I'll have more to report on that. School supplies, that was another question. Actually was asked that today. We will be providing school supplies again, just like we have in the past, everybody, and we can do that through, we've got generous donations through the Ministerial Alliance and some other organizations, and then just through use of school funds. We feel like that's something we can do. We know things are getting tight for everybody and times are hard, so we feel like that's something that we can continue to do. So we will be purchasing school supplies again. If anybody would like to donate school supplies or find out what is needed on a list, they're more than welcome to call up to the offices, whether it be over here at the elementary, and we're more than happy to take those donations, whether it be a monetary donation or actual supplies. I really was hoping that I was going to be able to bring to you today what our lunch and breakfast cost would be, but there are so many unknowns right now still, even this late with the USDA, and how that's going to work, what those numbers are going to be for reimbursement for the free and reduced status. So there's too many unknowns, I feel like, right now for us to put out what that's gonna cost. I do know that, we're going to have to go back and do that. We haven't had to do that since 2016, but all the waivers that were there, that everybody was able to be fed for free and we got reimbursed, or all of those have expired as of June 30th. So those are no longer there. It'll be important that people fill out those free and reduced forms and get those back to us. And if there's any way that families can qualify for that, that will be a big help. But we will have to start charging for lunch and possibly breakfast again this year. And so when we come back in August, hopefully we have better direction. There's a lot of schools that don't start till after Labor Day, and so they don't seem to be in any big hurry, but we need to know that information before that. So trying to pressure them and get that information has been kind of difficult, but that's where we are with that. I do know that the price for a paid lunch is going to go up at least 60 or 70 cents from what it was in 2016, and that's based off just gradual increase in what they suggest that we do. It's just been so long since we've charged, it's going to seem like a big jump all at once, but it's been almost 6 years. So that's something that we're going to have to do, and like I said, when we come back in August, I will have that schedule and what that's going to cost, and we will get that out to everybody just as soon as possible. On a lighter note, we started this year basically at zero with our general fund balance. This year, we ended with a carryover of $765,000, largely due to the cuts that we did make, and then an increase in gross production, use of federal funds, and other things. We're able to get that balance back to a healthier number, and another good year. I think we'll be really close to where we would like to be. But this number here is going to, it allows us not to have to worry about the non-payable warrants, those types of things, and will get us through to January when we get a large part of our collections from taxes. Gross production does seem to continue to still stay up. Those have been roughly a little over 100,000 each month, which is great. So I expect that to continue. We will have an increase in expenditures, but that will be mainly due to just supply costs. Inflation's at an all-time high, 4-year high. That's going to affect us. Fuel costs. We are still having the after-school program, but that's funded through a grant. So our expenditures will look like it's up a little bit, but we have money to cover those costs. So that will be good. Our building fund is up. It's $161,000 carryover. Last year was about $90,000. I know we're paying some salaries out of that right now. We'll take a look at maybe moving those back over and see if we can't build that up a little bit more. But it's in a healthy position right now. That's that fund doesn't get a lot of money coming in. But it's nice there to have, just like for our summer projects, and be able to utilize it for things like that. If we have some emergency issues with the building, to do that. So, ending this last fiscal year and starting this year in a much better financial situation. But we have a lot of obstacles still to look at and go forward with. But I just, I want to thank you all for your support and those decisions that we had to make last year. That wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And I know that we are heading back in the right direction. I know that we're headed back in the right direction. I think we've got good people in the right places. I've been really excited about some of the hires that we've been able to make. And get some people in here that are excited to be here, they want to be here, and they want to work and do a good job for the kids. And lastly, I want to thank our staff, our teachers especially. That was really tough on them last year. And we asked them this year to do a lot of things. I think some of them were a little bit reluctant at first on some changes that we asked them to make, but they did it. And then you know, I heard from several of them that it was great. It was the best thing that could have happened to them. So I appreciate them very much. I appreciate everybody that had to take on a little extra work to make things work. And, you know, our maintenance staff continues to do a great job and keeping everything up, taking care of things. But like I said, you know, it's nowhere near the situation we were in last year. And it's much easier to come in and look at things now than it was a year ago. So I'm just really proud of our people and sacrifices and this board and the decisions that we made and the things that we had to do to make sure that we could keep our school running well and get it back on track financially. So I think, if anybody's got any questions, that's kind of all I really have on my report. Like I said, when we come back at our next meeting, our principals will have kind of a recap over the summer. Mrs. Patterson will give us a report on the summer program that I think was very successful and went well. And Mr. Pruitt will give an update on all of our summer activities that we had. We had several that competed at national competitions out in San Diego and did well. I'd like to get some of those students in here and brag on them a little bit. And just lots of projects going on this summer. And then already back to school. So
Thanks, Bryce. Any new business?
there's no new business.
No new business. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Desiree, second. Kendra?
Middlefield,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Collins. Yes.
6:20.